If you don't know by now, Anna Kasparian had a little bit of a meltdown, not just over Roe v. Wade, but also over the squad, obviously not giving their support for Nina Turner. She goes on to say a lot of the things that we've been telling you over the past year. Myself, my comrades at Revolutionary Blackout Network, Hardlands Media, Convo Couch. Actually, the Vanguard has been saying this too. Like, honestly, well, hell. Mainly the smaller channels in Jimmy Dore. I'm just not going to lie. I'm being honest with you. We've been trying to tell people that this isn't working. Anna had a meltdown. She had some things to say. Let's go ahead and start right about here. And I'm going to chime in here and there because I have some things to say. This is hilarious to me.
So this is overturning Roe v. Wade. And this is the decision that is likely going to be the official decision having to do with the Mississippi abortion ban past 15 weeks. So they're using that state legislation as the opportunity to overturn Roe v. Wade, meaning that there is no longer going to be constitutional protections for women and their reproductive rights. So look, Cenk, take over because I'm having a hard time even communicating today.
Yeah.
We're gonna skip past Cenk. Okay, here we go. Right about here.
Some instances in some of those states, maybe if the woman's life is in danger, maybe they'll consider it. Maybe the pro-life people who couldn't be bothered to wear a freaking mask during the pandemic might make an exception for a woman if her life is in danger as a result of that pregnancy. Might. They're pro-life, by the way. Hundreds of thousands of Americans dead during the pandemic because of the intentional disinformation by the same right-wingers who are pretending to care about zygotes and fetuses today. Continue.
So I'm actually going to read a super chat.
Notice how Cenk is like so calm and he's like, well, I'm actually going to read a super chat right now, but let's go ahead and get into that. And I don't even know if that happened, but here we go.
That's who they are. What happened to those runoff Senate elections in Georgia where everyone turned out because those were the consequential races? We need to ensure that Democrats have a majority in the Senate. What happened? What happened? How are you going to convince people to come out and vote for you?
Uh-oh, here it goes. Okay, yeah, this is the part.
Might make an exception for a woman if her life is in danger as a result of that pregnancy. Might. They're pro-life, by the way. Hundreds of thousands of Americans dead during the pandemic because of the intentional disinformation by the same right-wingers who are pretending to care about zygotes and fetuses today. Continue.
So I'm actually going to read a super chat here because it's actually really powerful and directly is in line with what
So yeah, I'm actually going to read a super chat and yeah.
Feckless Democrats, losers, weak. That's who they are. What happened to those runoff Senate elections in Georgia where everyone turned out because those were the consequential races? We need to ensure that Democrats have a majority in the Senate. What happened? What happened? How are you going to convince people to come out and vote for you feckless losers? How?
Okay.
People are donating millions of dollars to Democrats right now. Don't waste your money.
Oh, you're wasting your money.
Don't waste your money.
Badly.
What? What was that? What was that? Did she say don't donate? Did she take our line? The things we've been telling people for over the years, stop donating to them. You're wasting your money. Donate your money to mutual aid instead. Did she say that? Come again. Come again.
We need to ensure that Democrats have a majority in the Senate. What happened? What happened? How are you going to convince people to come out and vote for you feckless losers? How?
Okay.
People are donating millions of dollars to Democrats right now. Don't waste your money.
Oh, you're wasting
Don't waste your money.
Badly. I'm going to explain why in a second.
See? But when we were saying that, and I mean those of us at RBN, when we were telling people to stop donating to Democrats, we were called grifters. We were called divisive. Nihilist is now this new term that people aren't using correctly. Look up the definition. Thank you very much. We were called secret right wingers. We've been called a part of a red-brown alliance. We've been told that we sold out. Sold out to what? I have a full-time job. Like, people think we do this full-time. We don't. I have a full-time job. So there's that. We were called all these names. So many people pointed at us and said, oh, they just look at us and like, oh, don't do any research about us. They just see a group of Black people and think, oh, what could they possibly know? Don't do any research. Don't see that some of us canvassed for Bernie Sanders and AOC. Don't see that I was an educator. Don't see that I have more education than some of the people on TYT. Don't do any research. So they thought, what the heck could they know?
Okay, hold on for that. Peter Hamby, who usually writes lighthearted poems, etc., wrote in today.
We don't really care about Peter. Let's go back to what Anna, okay, right here.
She would have to go through the entire pregnancy with that rapist child inside her body. Okay?
Yeah.
A 12-year-old. A 12-year-old.
Yeah. But they don't care about life. This is about controlling women.
100%.
Okay. So look, Republicans are monsters. That's a given, and for any thinking person. Oh, have I offended your feelings? You just took away the rights of women to control their own bodies. You're saying you love.
And some of the Democrats, Jink, don't forget some of the Democrats are on that same train. Make sure you don't leave them out. Anna's gonna bring up more stuff here. Oh boy.
Democrats understands power and he wields it. He wields it. He wields it for evil. He does it to control. He does it to force his theocratic ideology onto all of us. That's what he uses it for. Whereas the Democrats, hey Nancy, how's your refrigerator doing? How's your luxury ice cream doing? Okay, how's all that going for you? No, the Democrats, listen, all of the bootlickers for the Democratic Party get so upset at me for telling the truth about how ineffective and pathetic Democratic lawmakers are. Go ahead and cry about it. Oh, but the real enemies are the Republicans. At least Republicans tell us exactly who they are.
What? She sounds like us right now. What have we been saying? At least with Republicans, you know exactly, they tell you right to your face what they're about. And people say, well, you say the Democrats are corporate, well, so are the Republicans. I don't see Republicans going around saying that they're not corporate. You have politicians in the Democratic Party saying that they ran grassroots only campaigns and then taking those donations and giving them to establishment Democrats. Hello. But no, we were mean. We were divisive. We were here to divide the left.
Yeah. They don't even hide their cards. They tell us exactly who they are and what they're planning on doing. They scream it from the mountaintops.
Yeah.
And what do Democrats do? Do they do anything to prepare for it, to strategize, to ensure that they mitigate the damage that's done by right-wingers in this country? No, they're too busy fundraising. Nancy Pelosi.
Didn't I say that? What did I tell you? They just want to fundraise. They're not really trying to win. They just want to fundraise. It's all about the money. Anna is late. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party, Anna. Are people going to call Anna Kasparian a nihilist now too? No, because see, now that TYT has said this message, now it's okay for others to go ahead and give the nod as well. Humanist Report has come out criticizing them now. You see how this works?
He's got to fundraise. Chuck Schumer, he can't do away with the filibuster because that would mean that he'd have to apply a little bit of pressure on goons like Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Ooh, can't do that, can't do that. No, the reason why I go after Democrats is because A, they deserve it, and B, they deceive us. They lie to us, and they tell us that they're gonna fight for us, and they do the exact opposite.
You don't say. And yet you were still telling people to vote for them. You don't say. Yes, they do deceive. They do lie. They use identity politics to get people on board. They thought that shit was going to work with Hillary Clinton and it didn't. But I bet you come November, they're still going to tell you to vote for them. That's why I want people to remember this moment. Because come November, I want to see if Anna Kasparian is still going to tell you to vote for them.
Fold immediately. Nancy Pelosi on the record said, we need strong Republicans. Oh, I bet you do, Nancy. I bet you do. Yeah. Without the strong Republicans, how would you fundraise? You pathetic, pathetic corporate goon.
See, I didn't even go that far as to calling them names, but.
Okay, in fact, Nancy Pelosi has said in the past that Democrats should not focus on abortion because it hurts their electoral chances.
Which is exactly what I was referring to. That was 2017. She said that. I still think it's funny how Jink is so calm about this. He's just mad chill. Anna, not so much. Let me get back to her. Here we go.
Commissions and their study groups that do nothing. Just like when Biden lied to us and said to us, I don't know if the federal government can unilaterally, cancel all student loans. I don't know if the executive branch can do it. You know, you freaking liar. I need a commission to study to see whether, you don't know what your own job is? You don't know what your job title entitles you to? You don't know? Why are you president? Why?
That's funny. When I said that statement, people told me I didn't know what I was talking about.
Why did you nominate an education secretary? What's the whole point? Yeah. No, he knows, they know. But Jake, the reason why they blame progressives for the fact that they're massive losers, let's keep it real, is because what's the alternative? Acknowledging that they're corrupt, acknowledging that they're puppets to their corporate donors and their corporate masters. Yeah. They're not gonna admit that. So let's just find another scapegoat. Let's go ahead and blame progressives. Yeah, let's do that.
And the reason that another reason they do it is because it works. Why does it work? Because
progressives are still in the Democratic Party. They're still in the same corrupt party that you were just referring to. And the party controls what happens. That's why the squad didn't endorse Nina Turner, because like she said, they were threatened. Someone reached out to me recently and told me that Cori Bush's office is told they're not allowed to talk. Isn't that something? Let's carry on with Miss Anna here. Oh, this is a trip. This is a shining moment.
With them, I'm completely done with them. We need to find a way to circumvent the government and get people what they need, okay? We need to organize, we need to find a way. We'll talk about it a little later in the show.
Wait a minute.
It's surrender.
They have no plan. They never have, they never will. All they care about is fundraising. I'm done with Congress. I'm done with them. I'm completely done with them. We need to find a way to circumvent the government and get people what they need, okay? We need to organize, we need to find a way.
We need to organize? Guys, last year, actually, past 2 years, you want to talk about organizing. Okay, we organized the March for Medicare for All. Anna Kasparian smeared those marches. There were also organizing for George Floyd protests all across this country. Anna Kasparian, TYT changed their stance on defunding the police. 1 minute they said they were for it. Then when it wasn't popular anymore, they decided not to be for it. And they tried to call it something else. There was also Force the Vote, which Anna Kasparian was heavily against. So people have been organizing all around you, Anna. You chose not to be a part of it. That's the problem. You chose not only to not be a part of it, but you chose to smear it. People have been organizing. But no, when she criticized Force the Vote, that was us trying to hold those politicians to their word. That was us trying to make sure that they would be held accountable. She didn't want us to make sure that they will be held accountable. She didn't agree with it.
We'll talk about it a little later in the show. If we're gonna sit around and wait for our elected lawmakers to protect us from these religious zealots and these right-wing authoritarians, man, we have another thing coming. How many times do we need to be disappointed by?
What have we been telling you guys? What have we been telling you? See, now what's really kind of pissed about this, or pisses me off a little bit, is now because this was said on TYT, now it's going to look like they're the first ones that came up with this. When you have like the smaller channels, we've been saying this for over a year, you need to organize on the outside. They're not going to do anything for you in DC that doesn't support corporate interest. This is what we've been telling people. Most of the power is going to have to come on the outside. If you still want to do electoral politics, it needs to be like an 80-20 rule where 80% is direct action, mutual aid, 20% electoral politics. And even then, I'm talking about focusing more so on the local level where you can actually implement some type of change through electoral politics. When it comes to the federal level, if you're going to vote, you need to vote third party or independent. Anybody going into these two parties, even if they don't plan to fail you, the party will make it so that they will. I just told you, Cori Bush's office, they're not allowed to talk.
I'm done with them. And personally, I don't speak for everyone in this network. I want to be clear. I'm speaking for myself. I'm done with them completely. The Democratic Party, every single one of them, that includes the squad, I don't care anymore. They have not delivered. They have not delivered. I'm done. Okay. It's time to organize, create organizations that get women and get people in this country what they need. People.
She's done. She said that includes the squad. Notice she made sure she said, I don't speak for everyone at this network. I'm just speaking for myself. She made sure she added that in though, especially if she want to keep her job. Because let's be real, come November, she says she's done with them. When Jink and everyone else on this network is going to tell you to vote for them, is Anna Kasparian going to come on TYT and say, don't donate to them, don't vote for them? I don't think so. Because if she does, they're not going to let her keep her job. That goes against the message and the brand that that network has. Take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. But you can hear it again here. Here we goes.
And get people what they need, okay? We need to organize. We need to find a way. We'll talk about it a little later in the show. If we're gonna sit around and wait for our elected lawmakers to protect us from these religious zealots and these right-wing authoritarians, man, we have another thing coming. How many times do we need to be disappointed by them? I'm done with them. And personally, I don't speak for everyone in this network. I want to be clear. I'm speaking for myself. I'm done with them completely. The Democratic Party, every single one of them, that includes the squad, I don't care anymore. They have not delivered. They have not delivered. I'm done. Okay. It's time to organize, create organizations that get women and get people in this country what they need. People who are willing to pick up the slack for these disgusting, feckless, corrupt politicians.
See, I didn't even go that far to call the people names, but you know, whatever floats your boat. But it is interesting to me that she's just like, that's it. That includes the squad. They have not delivered. That's what we've been trying to tell you, TYT. That's what we've been trying to tell you. They're not doing anything. They're not passing any damn bills. They're not pushing back on establishment Democrats. They freaking abandoned Nina Turner, left her out there to dry after Nina has backed and supported every single one of them. What is the point? Why are you still supporting them? But when we said it, we were bad people. We were divisive people.
That's what we need to focus on.
So when I ran for Congress, the LA Times said that I would be too rude to Republicans.
Good, we're gonna be ruder.
And they endorsed my soft corporate Democratic opponent. Okay, and what has she done to fight? Well, actually, she's not in Congress because she didn't bother fighting the Republican in the race. They never fight the Republicans, ever, ever, ever. By the way, when I was in the race though, they fought me like demons, right?
Okay, Jink, I don't really care. All right, here we go.
These terrorists, and that's pretty much it. Those are your options. There is a third option, and it's to circumvent all of it and figure out what the loopholes are to get people what they need. That's it. What are we gonna do, Cenk? What other option do we have at this point?
Yeah, so obviously, I think that progressives can win electorally.
Notice Jink comes in at the end to say, wait a minute, I just want to make sure I add my piece in. Obviously, I think that progressives can win. Jink, make sure he come in to save his ass. Look at this. Here we go.
For you, doesn't care about you, and is only interested in their own ego and power. Shame on you for covering for them and doing propaganda for them. You disgust me with your alternative facts and your goddamn lies.
In this political system, you have very limited options. You could either support the American Taliban, or you could support the party that capitulates to these terrorists. And that's pretty much it. Those are your options. There is a third option, and it's to circumvent all of it and figure out what the loopholes are to get people what they need. That's it.
We have already figured that out. If you didn't block so many of us, we could have already had this conversation. There are other options. You can vote third party, vote independent. You need to organize, need to do direct action. When people are organizing and we're advertising these things on social media, especially with the marches for Medicare for All, every single one of those independent left media hosts were reached out to. I know, I was in the meetings. I was a part of that. I was at the march here for Medicare for All in Boston. Every single one of them were contacted, and most of them didn't want anything to do with it. The same people that told you we need to fight with Bernie Sanders so we can get Medicare for All. All of a sudden, when it was not an election year, they didn't want anything to do with it. They didn't want to go to no protests. They didn't even want to talk about it on their show. Most of them did not cover it. And if TYT would have covered those marches, we could have had hundreds and thousands of people, but they didn't. We're only so big. So I can only, I'm only reaching a certain amount of people. They have millions of subscribers. And what they decided to do instead, Anna Kasparian got her little corny ass on Twitter and decided to smear the marches. This woman ain't real.
What are we gonna do, Cenk? What other option do we have at this point?
Yeah, so obviously, I think that progressives can win electorally. But I'll tell you what, when they win, they better do something. If you go in there and your whole thing is, let me bow my head to the corporate Democrats, then everyone's right. What the hell did we elect you for? I mean, here's Nina Turner, co-chair of Bernie Sanders' campaign, one of the strongest progressives in the country. In the last 24 hours, AOC endorsed her and no one else did. You're not gonna stick together? You all ran against incumbents, or almost all of you did. You wouldn't have endorsed yourself?
Embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Super embarrassing.
And it's embarrassing for TYT too. It's embarrassing for a lot of these shows that constantly made excuses for the squad when we were trying to tell you what was going on, what they were doing. Afeni was right in DC. She got a chance to talk to AOC and Cori Bush, and Afeni came back on my show and explained to everyone that AOC said, you guys are going to have to do the organizing on the outside because they're not going to do anything for you in here. That came from AOC.
So you were taught compliance and you obeyed?
Good job.
And don't get me wrong, I know there are consequences. I know how vicious the corporate Democrats are to progressives. They'll lie down like doormats, like guys like Hakeem Jeffries, happy to be a doormat for the Republicans, to have them walk all over him. He's like, oh, do I get any money though? Oh, yes, my corporate donors, my blood. But when it comes to progressives, they'll rip your face off. I know that, okay? That's why it requires courage to fight back. If you don't want to do that, then yes, we wasted our time. So I think the jury's still out as long as Nina Turner's still around, but we're gonna find out in about a couple hours. And if she isn't, I too might give up on electoral politics, at least in Congress, because everyone that goes in there immediately believes the lies of the establishment Democrats, that they have to surrender to Republicans and they have to surrender to Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and they have to surrender to the donors. Well, if everyone who goes in there believes that, then there's no point in sending them. Washington.
Exactly. What are we sending them there for? I think that's the end. Is that the end? Okay. So Miss Anna decided to come back and try to say that is not what she said. Listen to this. That's why I said don't get excited. This is all for show. This woman is fake. Listen.
Welcome to TYT. I'm your host, Anna Kasparian. And conservatives calling me out on social media saying Anna Kasparian had a meltdown. And they shared video from the show yesterday where I was specifically calling out the Republican Party in forcing women to bring to term fetuses.
Notice she said conservatives were sharing a video. Everybody was sharing that video. Conservatives, leftists, liberals. Notice how she's leaving that part out. She's lying. She's telling their audience that it was the conservatives that were doing it. It was not just the conservatives. That's on purpose. She goes on to say, oh, I was criticizing Republicans. Yes, she was, but she also criticized the Democratic Party and the squad, and she does not mention that here.
Without any say over their own bodies, while also, by the way, fighting aggressively against any type of social spending program, any type of regulation that would make childcare affordable for people, that would create, a social safety net so parents could be parents. And so children could be raised in a happy, healthy environment, if that's genuinely what they want. They shared that rant, acting as if my meltdown was totally unwarranted. And I'm so happy they're doing it, because please let them know. Let them know, folks. Let Americans know what the right wing really stands for in this country. They want to force you to bring to term fetuses. They want you to have babies that they will then abandon the second that baby is born. The second it's born. No paid family leave, no affordable childcare, nothing to help you with your medical bills, your maternity bills, if you don't happen to have health care.
Someone definitely spoke to her, because you notice she's leaving the Democrat part out and she's leaving the squad part out.
Because, the one thing that Republicans never want to talk about, and I wish Democrats would force them to talk about, but it turns out Democrats don't really talk, they don't want to talk about these issues either, is the fact that they want to screw you, that they want to empower the corporate elite in this country to continue to rob you. That's the Republican Party. Keep sharing my video. You're doing me a favor. Love every minute of it.
The Democrats are elites too. They're trying to rob you too. See how she changed her tone? See how she changed that? Who spoke to her? That's very different from the video that you saw before. Didn't mention anything about the squad in that video. This is a joke. This is a joke. Like I said, guys, mark my words. Don't be surprised if she comes back and tries to say, vote for them come November. But since TYT put the message out, all their comrades felt, oh, now I can speak out against it too. Here is the Humanist Report. Progressive members of Congress abandon Nina Turner, can't help but feel like the progressive movement is dead. Where you been, Mike? Mike, where you been? We've been trying to tell you for a year. The energy is gone. The energy is not there. We tried to tell you. You blocked people. Nick tried to tell you. Bernie Sanders was not going to do anything. That Bernie Sanders was defending Joe Biden. Mike blocked him. David Dole, he's another one. Same thing. Nick tried to explain to David Dole, listen, the progressives aren't doing anything. David Dole blocked him. it's hilarious to me. It's hilarious to me. It's very telling. And I hope this is really a wake-up call for a lot of people. Like I said, let's remember this moment. Let's put a timestamp on that. And let's come back in November and let's see if they're true to their word. Because I can always pull this back up. Right? All right. Thank you so much for the super chat, AJF. I think Democrats will only really change if they see themselves losing where they are expected to win. Imagine New York or California turned red, LOL. Did you know that upstate New York, I'll have to pull up the map sometime. Some parts of upstate New York are actually red. I think it's New York City that puts them over to the blue side. KDK7, thank you for the super chat. TYT is so phony. This is all for show. A sad grab at getting some of their viewers back. This is transparent and hilarious. Thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you for the super chat, Oz. Debate Shahid why electoralism doesn't work. Love Sabs. Thank you so much, Oz. I actually like Shahid, though. Thank you for this super chat as well, AJF. I begrudgingly settled on the notion things will get worse before it gets better. We'll need to strive mostly outside of electoral politics. I agree. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for the super chat, Colin. If Anna is serious about this, she will leave TYT. Bingo. Bingo. Leo says, Sabby having an IPA tonight? Yes. How did you know that? It is called Save the Robots. It's an East Coast IBA. See the little robot? Mr. Roboto. Mr. Little Robot Guy. It's by Radiant Pig Craft Beers. So that's the name of the brewery. It's Friday night. Got to do it. Got to do it. I hope I got to all these. Thank you so much for the super chat, TSW. Been meaning to donate to you for a while, but broke. I am watching you a lot more, Sabby, and I like what you are doing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Cool Blue said, come September, October, Anna will be back to saying vote blue no matter who. Thank you for the super chat, Andrew. Anna might stay with this mentality and get fired. I think she knows better. Thank you for the super chat, Delthea Simmons. The Dems have been worthless for decades, and Anna said keep voting for Dems. Now that she's lost something she thinks is important, now the Dems are feckless. Take all that seat, Anna. You're done. Thanks for the super chat, Peter version 1. She wanted to say donate to TYT instead. Ouch. West Coast said Jink will not abandon access journalism. It's how he got rich and how his nephew got rich. LOL. But I want to go ahead and check that poll. So let's see how we're doing here. I hope everyone had a chance to put their results in for the poll. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up the results. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's the result. Has Justice Democrats failed? Whew. 96% of you said yes. 3% said no. Poll complete, 603 votes. Yikes. Woof. All right, that's Screaming Paul said can't if you didn't try. Oh man, oh man.